Dear Den, this plan needs to be reconsidered. Where do the funds saved from these furloughs go? How is it equitable? Where is the equity? How is that equitable? These are the diary entries of some of the 1,400 City of Denver employees who work at Denver International Airport. Dear Den is a way for city employees at DIA to anonymously ask questions to be answered by someone in power at the airport. You can imagine how many questions are about furloughs after employees found out they would be unpaid at least 2 and as many as 7 days because the city has a $50 million gap to close this year.
The airport will also take furloughs. All of our staff at the airport will also participate. Every employee is participating.
This employee comment rightly stated, airport employees being furloughed will do absolutely nothing to help Denver's financial situation. DIA is an enterprise, which means it gets no general fund dollars from the city. And that means when DIA's 1,400 city employees furlough, the city will save $0. In an airport-wide email last week, CEO Phil Washington wrote, "While our budget is not tied to the city's general fund, we have historically stood in solidarity with our City and County of Denver colleagues downtown when belts need to be tightened. Dear Den, the standing in solidarity with our downtown colleagues is a load of blank. Of the 14 Dear Den entries shared with us by a DIA employee, this is the only one with a response so far. Avoid using or implying the use of profanity." That response also said the Dear Den entry would still be answered. So who at DIA are city employees? Let's take a ride through the airport. The information staff, who guide travelers, they're city employees. Others work in operations, maintenance, finance, IT, and marketing. And they're also the people responsible for responding to the Dear Den entries. DIA CEO Phil Washington hosted a virtual town hall today to answer questions for those city employees at the airport, like where does the furlough money go? DIA saves that money, Kyle and Mark. It does not necessarily need to save that money, and it's not helping the city save any money, but DIA gets to hold on to that money.
I get solidarity, right? I get everybody shouldering the burden, but if there isn't a direct way to say the harm done to you and your family's finances will benefit the city in this way, I'd be mad as hell.
It's tough to swallow, and some of the answers have been, well, we did this during COVID like everybody else. But yes, during COVID, the airport also suffered its own budget during COVID.
We also did a lot of stupid things during COVID, for the record. But I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
But the airport suffered itself during COVID. The airport is not $50 million short on its budget right now that we know of.
Wow. Okay. Well, not isolated to Denver, but in Denver, not isolated city employees who impact the budget. This is interesting stuff. Conversation to be continued. Mark, Marshall, thank you.